Has the country finally flattened the COVID-19 curve? Let's hear now from infectious disease expert, Dr. Benjamin Ko. Doc, thank you so much for joining us once again on The Final Word. The reproduction number is now less than 1%. To be exact, 0.94%. Does this mean, in your interpretation, that we have flattened the curve?
Well, it's not only the reproduction. Good evening, Rico, first, and to the other televiewers. The reproduction number in itself is not the only variable or parameter that will tell us that we have flattened the curve. There are other variables and there are other parameters that should be used. For example, is the doubling time that we have shortened it. Like in my rundown, in my blog, I always point out the summary for the week. So if you go through the summary of the week, the basic parameters include the doubling time, which is prolonged from 25 days last week to 48 days this week. The 7-day growth rate from 2.72% last week to 1.47% this week. And if you look at the number of cases for the week before we were doing we had a total of 25,852 cases, which was about almost 4,000 per day. This week, the previous week that we had only 21,439, or a 7-day average of around 3,000 cases per day, which is a dramatic drop of about 600 cases
Doctor,
a day.
So, Doctor, if we're seeing a reduction in the reproduction number and in the doubling time, is this because we shifted back to MECQ? And then, now that we're back in GCQ, we could see the numbers rising again?
It's possible. Well, like I said, this is a personal opinion. I don't think that the MECQ had anything to do with the drop in actually the number of cases that we had. And the reason for that is because I really didn't see anything tangible from the modified enhanced community quarantine from what we have with the generalized community quarantine that we're experiencing now. I think what happened is during the MECQ period up to now, people are more careful, particularly when it comes to shifting behaviors, and that they have learned to not put their guards down.
Right. So in your view, Doc, what would be an ideal reproduction number and doubling time from the current levels when you say flattening the curve?
The ideal reproduction number would be 0.
Of course,
because
0.
There's nothing to reproduce. Okay?
Yes.
So we need to really bring the numbers down, all the way down, even less than 0.5. And as long as we see a decline in the number of cases, then that would be good. I think Secretary Duque has also announced a while ago that if you look at the cases in the National Capital Region, and I've been tracking these numbers daily, the numbers in the National Capital Region the Mega Manila used to contribute to almost 60 to 70% of the cases per day, total number of cases. Now it contributes to around about 40% of the total cases. It's Region 6 Region 6 and 7 that's actually problematic.
That's right. So realistic is half a percent for the reproduction number. And we just spoke to the Bacolod mayor. And why are you saying that Region 6 could be potentially another area where we could see rising numbers?
Actually, I pointed that out in my blog last August 26, that Negros Occidental was one of the rising numbers, and that was August 26. So if you look at the numbers that Bacolod City in itself has today and Negros Occidental, it has actually quadrupled the numbers it had since last August 26.
Well, because the mayor said that they were able to swab thousands of Negrenses and Bacolodnons because of that timeout 4-day weekend. That's why we saw a rise in the number, but at least they were able to identify more COVID-19 cases.
Yes, so which means that they were not testing enough from that time on. If you get a case like, I've always tried to explain to people that the positivity rate should stay less than 5%. The lower it gets, from a 10%, from a 5 to 10% positivity rate, then that would be good. That would be good enough. But if you get positivity rates of more than 10%, and I guess I forgot to tell everybody that that's the good news. Over the last week, we've had 2 days wherein we were 9.2% and 9.9%. So that means the Philippines as a whole, we are testing that 10% threshold. And the UP Octa is actually right. We cannot put our guards down because you have to remember these numbers that you have for reproduction rate symbolizes the reproduction number for the Philippines. But in each and every region, in each and every city, in each and every barangay, the reproduction rate will differ. So it might be that in Bacolod, the reproduction rate may be 2.5, which is really high, which means for every one patient they will have, then there is the potential to have 2 to 3 patients that will get infected. Unlike in Metro Manila, where the reproduction rate is now less than 1.
We should not let our guard down. Thank you so much for your insights, Dr. Benjamin Ko, an infectious disease expert.